up here. Get you a chair. Why are you running? There we go. Thank you, Malika. And let's get Andre. Come on, Andre. Black Nerd Comedy Meadows. Let's get Andre up here. Woo! Strawberry 17. Woo! Christina V. Peter Sidarso. And we have Melissa Flores joining us today. And where's Paulie? Is Paulie still here? Where'd Paulie go?
He's probably at his
bathroom break. He'll be back.
Yeah. You can find Paulie in Legacy Wars now in a couple of months.
No, but seriously, he's in Legacy Wars now.
Wait, what? Are you serious?
Yeah, it was announced today.
Yeah, dude, it got announced
today?
Yeah,
today.
Hyperforce Yellow in a couple months.
Does anybody have pictures online right now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go look it up.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
We just lost Peter.
Thank you
for
guys so
2
much for
minutes.
being here. You guys are the best group of people ever.
Seriously. Before we get into this panel, I just want to say thank you guys so much for supporting this weird little show that we have. We all worked everyone here has worked so hard to make this show, and seeing you guys here, like, this is so cool. All the people that have been coming up to us and saying hello, we've been walking around, it seriously means the world to us. So thank you guys so much. So we're going to ask some questions, and if you guys have questions for us, please be thinking about them and get ready. We will be doing a Q&A, and I would love if there's a lot of people. If there's a lot of people with questions, that's even better. I would love to spend more time answering you guys' questions than me talking, and we do that all the time. So,
Yo, this is so sick, guys. I just saw the... sorry.
It's really cool. All right, so, he's what? He's 2 hours? Oh, come on. They put him on like a big rig and everything. All right, we're going to do our panel. We'll do our panel. First things first, let's start with a quick question about series development and bringing Hyperforce to life. So, question here that might do for some more behind-the-scenes kind of stuff here. This was an idea that kind of probably surprised a lot of you guys and surprised even probably people at this table. How did Season 1 of Hyperforce come about?
Well, we wanted to do something really fantastic for the fans for the 25th anniversary. We wanted to really try and figure out to find a good way to celebrate every team, not just one team. And we wanted to do it in a really unique way. And so we were able to get connected with Zach from Hyper RPG, who was already doing these really amazing role-playing games. And he came in and pitched us an RPG. And it was something we never really thought about, but it took some explaining. But once we got it, we really got it. It was fantastic. And you know, I got to give credit to a lot of our executives at Saban Brands at the time who were like, absolutely, let's do it. It took a few months. It took a lot of back and forth. At the same time, Peter came in. He pitched an RPG idea. We're like, funny you should ask, because we're already doing that.
You might want to hold off on doing that and come meet with these guys.
But it was clear that the time was right. And luckily, we were able, I think we're maybe the first major licensed RPG on Twitch. So we got a lot of support from them. And it was really funny. Nobody really knew how it would turn out, and it turned out amazing. We were really excited.
Woo. So outside of that, how did the premise of the story come about, and what led to the decision ultimately to make it kind of a sequel to Time Force?
Wait, I didn't get to answer that question.
Okay, you want it?
Okay, so like Peter texted me, and he's like, "Yo, I have this like super cool thing because I really love Mighty Morphin. Treating
Well, also
with my
Megan's
girl.
been friends with me and Yoshi before Power Rangers even happened.
Yeah, when they
for
were
us.
auditioning and stuff, like you guys even asked me, like, you should come audition. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I could do it. And then they end up becoming Rangers. I'm like, dang it, I should have tried.
Well, now you are too.
I know. And then he's like, dude, just trust me on this. I'm gonna have someone send you an email. It's gonna be really cool. I can't tell you what it's about. I'm like, okay, all right. And then I got the email, and I felt like I fell out of my chair. I was like, what is this? At the ripe age of 30, I became a Power Ranger. Woo! Yeah! Never give up on your dreams, kids. Never give up.
Hey, okay, so I get a DM from Peter, and me and Peter and Yoshi had been friends. We went to college. I went to college with Yoshi, and then he was like, hey, there's something really cool, and I'm going to have this guy contact you. And then I got the email, and then I fell out of my chair. I was like, oh my God, seriously?
As you can tell, I'm very passionate about this stuff.
It's awesome.
And cryptic.
And also at the ripe age of 30. Yeah! Woo!
So I didn't get a DM from Peter.
He was already on board. He was already on board. It's not my fault, I swear.
So maybe he wasn't following me. I don't know. No, I got a call. Oh, yeah, we've made up many times since then. But no, it was like a random like call of just like, hey, there's these guys, Hyper RPG, and they do tabletop. It's like, oh, that sounds cool. I've never done that before. I want to do that. That'd be fun. And be like, cool. They got this cool show. Great. What's it about? It's like, so it's about Power Rangers. Wait, what? Oh, so I was like, so cool. So like, we're gonna play like, you know, the Mighty Morphers. Like, no, they're like creating new Power Rangers. You're gonna be a Power Ranger. I was like, what? And I was like some of our early comments, but it's not a TV show. You can't be a Power Ranger if it's not a TV show. And then I was like, oh, no, it's a real thing. So, you know, as some of you know, I've talked about Power Rangers before. A few times, once or twice. So to go from that to being Eddie was just like, what? And then they were like, yeah, your character's going to be like the Power Ranger fan who's happy to be a Power Ranger. Can you do that? I think I can. I think I can do it. So this is just an honor. Thank you guys.
Those first phone calls were some of my favorite because there was definitely that pause each time of like, so this is the thing. You can't tell anyone about it. Thank you for signing the NDA, but here's what it is. And like, oh, cool. Yeah, cool. And then after the conversation went on for about 10 to 15 minutes, I was like, yeah, so we could do this, we could do that, we can do this.
It was like, sign this form, and then Power Rangers. I was like, yeah. So thanks a lot.
I know Malika hasn't got a chance to answer this question yet either, but really,
What's the question?
Did you get a DM from Peter? That's the question.
Yeah. How did season 1 of Hyperforce come about? And really, this is...
That's a long road. There's about 8 months of story right there. Yeah. Where do we start?
I think we could start with your absolute love of Power Rangers and telling me that we should do it.
I really like Power Rangers. I don't think you actually realized how deep the Power Ranger love went.
No, I didn't.
You're like, oh yeah, she talks about Power Rangers sometimes. She seemed excited when the movie came out because it was on her birthday. But it went real deep. You know how like a lot of people say, oh, I started watching Power Rangers when I was a kid, and you know, Mighty Morphin was cool. I like never really stopped. I don't know what happened to me. I think a lot of people in this audience maybe can like relate, where it's just like, nah, I just kept going. And especially because the Power Rangers were connected. But anyways, back to the question. I was like, Power Rangers is amazing. And you're like, cool, I do tabletop RPGs on Twitch. And we're like, cool, let's go to Saban Brands and be like, please?
But seriously, you're not giving yourself no credit there. Malika is a game designer and you know, worked from the ground up to help design all of that. So, but going to that next question, like, how did we then decide to set it after Time Force, and how did the premise of the story come about with Greek mythology and everything else involved?
There was a lot of cooks in that kitchen, for sure. I think we all agree that Time Force is a pretty fan favorite season, and what we really loved about the idea of Time Force was that you could travel through time, which meant we specifically tailored it so that we could bring legendary Rangers on. And one of the great unique things about a live RPG show is that you don't have to be...
You missed 10 minutes of Peter gushing over your new Legacy Wars character.
Hey, Polly, we're on the same game now, dude. We're in the same game now.
Hi, Peter.
Hey, Polly.
Speaking of, I was texting him, being like, please come. And he showed up. So thank you. No, we really wanted to make sure that, I mean, because it's not footage-based, it doesn't matter, you know, where an actor is, as long as they've got a weekend or a free night to come and spend some time with us. So, so we specifically tailored Time Force, so we had a team of Time Force cadets who could go travel through time and spend some time in each era and really celebrate each and every era, not just, you know, early Saban or MMPR or Disney, but, you know, all of them. And that's really how it all came together. It was a lot of people. I know that Peter really wanted us to do Time Force too, and
that was actually originally what I came to her for. Originally, the thing that I wanted with her, like when we first started talking about it, like it was Time Force X, right, or something like that.
Yeah, and I was like, Peter, shh.
Yeah.
Just let us do this, and then we'll call you. No, it was great. He was fantastic, and we got to design the costumes with Peter, which are great, and then we got to design the game with Malika. She came through, and I got to be a very terrible RPG tester when we tested the game a few times.
Right. No, you were great.
You were great because as soon as you started playing, you're like, how can I break these things?
Oh. Can we talk about that? The first couple of practice sessions? Because I came in and I was like, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know how to play this game. I was so nervous. I have never done RPGs before. And I just sat there and was so quiet. They were like, I don't know if she can do this. But I just was like, this is overwhelming. I don't know.
I have to admit, when Megan, she's supposed to be like the crazy outspoken character, and she comes in and she's so quiet. After that first session, I was like, gosh, I don't know. Maybe she should be like the other one.
No, but listen, I'm the kind of person that I like to observe stuff. I like to take it all in, and then once it was a practice run, so I didn't have to perform just yet. It was I needed to take it in, and I'm like, all right, this is what this world is like. This is like what I can do. They haven't really told me what I can't do, so I'm gonna push that. And then the next time I came in, I think I really I wasn't what you expected.
Yeah, she killed it. Just every single one of these guys killed it. Honestly, we had no idea how good of players they would become, because most of them have never played an RPG game in their life, right,
or how
Zach?
evil they would become and steal all the super megas, ultras. You think you know somebody, and then they turn.
Hey, man, there was within the rules, but I do have one suspicion about the first game that. Because, okay, so like, all right, guys, you're in the Zord, and everybody was like adding, and I couldn't add that entire session. Do you remember that? I was like, what's 6 + 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like, the first game, the first filming happens, and I'm not at the end of the table where I have to like add. I'm like the first one, so I don't have to add. Was that on purpose?
No, but...
Okay. Because I'm glad it happened.
I did not think that through in that way. Definitely not. Wow. No one was judging your ad.
It's like, she can't add. She needs to go first.
They gave us a math test before we started, just so... No, I'm kidding.
She added all those supers and megas to attack Eddie that one time.
I mean, you don't gotta add them when you use them all. So just say, I use all of them.
I was so mad at her. I went up to her after, and I'm like, I know this is just a game and that was just your character, but I'm really upset. Like, I hate losing. Like, I'm very competitive, and sometimes it's hard for me to be a Power Ranger and not, let that competitive nature take over. That was my biggest struggle, for sure. But
you told me that again recently, too. You're like, I was so mad at you.
I was like, okay, time to battleize. She's going down. That's it.
Right. But that's what was cool about the show. I mean, as much as I love the TV show, it's like, you know that formula of the Zords come out, and the thing calls back, explosion, ninjas win. And, so when we would have these episodes where it's like, we didn't really technically win this one, or yay, we won, but there's some people on fire over there. It was pretty crazy when those happened.
Yeah, it was a lot of things that I guess you wouldn't really expect to happen in a Power Ranger thing, but they would happen. It's like, oh, building crashes. What happens to the people? With us, we got to explore it, and that was actually really neat, too.
And that was actually on purpose. We we really were gearing this to an older audience, which means could, and we had 3 hours. We didn't have 22 minutes. We didn't have to go by footage. Mm-hmm. We could take 3 hours to really explore the world and explore the characters in a deeper, darker, but still on brand way.
Mm-hmm. As much as we possibly could.
Except for when you let Kyle on. That was a mistake.
Oh, my God.
Okay, for the record, I did not know that Kyle was going to try to kill every single person in the vicinity. I didn't know that was going to happen. And he knew he wasn't supposed to do that. He just went for it. Okay. Now, I know we mentioned, RPGs in general. Most people at this table, maybe this was their first role in RPGs, but, Peter and Polly both have extensively a love for role-playing games. Do you guys want to talk about that at all?
Yeah. Playing RPGs is an awesome way to learn to work with others and to problem solve. And as a young man, I think it was really, I kind of wanted a safe space to do that and try to kill beholders. Which, giant eye guy. Yeah. Role-playing is awesome because it makes you think. You have to think within a given set of confines. I'm sorry, you're just as Jack.
We have to find Karen's backpack. One moment.
Can I have your comment?
But she also was an amazing high
Yes, Karen was a special guest on that episode. Of
Karen, give me your comment.
That is her official third Hyperforce cameo. So
She's pretty much part of the team.
Oh my gosh, we should start doing that, leaving like our backpacks underneath panels.
yeah,
and
I'm so
walking up and
sorry.
seeing if anyone recognizes it. It won't happen. We should try it.
So, Peter, what was your experience with RPGs before the show?
I'm like Mel was saying. I've been a huge fan of like D&D and other like RPGs and stuff. So originally, after coming back from Ninja Steel, I actually love Critical Role. Does anybody here watch Critical Role?
yeah.
Yeah, some of you guys, great.
Pretty
Yeah,
good.
I was a huge fan of Critical Role.
Never
So-
seen it.
We'll get to that. So I was a huge fan of it, and I wanted to create something like that for Power Rangers. So I like wrote a story, did all the designs and everything, and I came to Mel, and that's when she gave me the whole, let's wait a second. We actually know somebody who is actually helped to create Critical Role, and we want to do a Power Ranger role-playing game with them. And at that point, I was like, what? The people who created Critical Role? That's insane. And that's when I met Zach and Malika and Cameron, too. Cameron's not here, is he?
No.
No, Cameron's not here. But yeah, and so because of that, it was like, it's almost as if everything just kind of worked out in a way that I would have never expected to. But D&D is amazing. I mean, playing Hyperforce and playing Ninja Steel is completely different things. Like in Ninja Steel, you're just kind of, you're meant to know what to do. Everything kind of just happens the way it is, and you don't question it, and it just is. With Hyperforce, at first, the first thing I told Mel was like, I want to be red. I want to be red. If I'm going to do it, I want to be red. Thank you, dude. I was like, I want to be an Asian red. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. No, but then I wanted to be red, and then I didn't think about it until after, when we
Pink is
started getting
okay.
into playing, and we had to do role playing, and I had to be the Red Ranger, and I had no. I didn't have a script telling me this is when you're gonna come in and lead the team. This is when you're gonna say this, and everyone's just gonna listen to you. Instead, it's more like you're gonna say this, and you don't know if people are gonna listen to you, and you have to figure things out, make decisions, and that was like a completely different aspect that I got out of Power Rangers from just role playing it, So.
But that is
role-playing's
something
great.
that was super amazing for me to watch because a lot of these guys, they're eccentric, beautiful, amazing personalities, and that's why we had you on the show. But you've never been on a Power Rangers show. It's not your first instinct to be brand appropriate, But
which we totally followed to the letter every time.
But that's what's amazing about it, because if you watch the show, yeah, things got dark, yeah, things got crazy, but you guys took that seriously. You guys were Power Rangers.
It was real.
And
it was real
that
for us.
was fantastic for me.
I
That was a
think-
beautiful, beautiful thing, and it really just touched me.
Something
Now
that
I
was-
got my arm torn off.
Whoops. Something that was interesting about that from a producing standpoint, watching like what Peter's talking about, it's really hard if any of you play D&D. If anyone in a group of D&D players is like, I'm the leader, that's going to create weird table dynamics. So something we learned through this process of each week having to come in here and try to see how these things work on a show that's also a role-playing game is you have to kind of give up a lot of that power that you might be able to write into a show where you're improv playing at a table. Each person kind of needs to be the own leader of their space and be their own actionable person to work in a role-playing game. So it created an interesting dynamic between the team, I thought, to where by the end it felt like every person had a really big role in their own form of leadership. It was really neat.
Yeah, like, I mean, obviously you guys have seen some episodes of Hyperforce, but a lot of the themes I feel like that's repeated through it all is just being your own leader. You know, like I think it's been said almost 5 times in the show that there is no real leader of Hyperforce. And that's kind of what makes it so unique from all the other Power Ranger groups, where you're just kind of forced to take what it is. You know, like a group of 5 people are now in a group. Suddenly one person's the leader. You know, like that's not the situation with us, and it kind of makes for a really interesting dynamic.
So moving on from there, let's talk a little bit about your characters. You know, Andre mentioned that you got to create your own character. And what was that process like for you, coming up with your character name, your backstory, and some of those things your other players didn't know about until like the very end, and some things we hid from you, even if you created your own backstory, we had our own plans.
Sneaky devil.
Yeah.
That we'd keep from you all along. But what was it like creating a Ranger from the ground up based on your own personality and where you wanted to go with it?
Vesper turned out a lot different than I was intending, because I really wanted her to be like, yeah, I'm so cold and I'm cool and I'm gonna kick butt. But then I had really bad rolls and I wasn't cool at all. So.
No, wait, remember the one time you're like, I'm gonna roll to do a backflip, and there was like no need for her to do a backflip. I forget where we were. And I was just like, are you serious? We're just like gonna walk over to the shop. And she's like rolling for a backflip, and she like lands her backflip, and that was it. Like your character was so weird.
That's when she was still gonna be cool. And then maybe I think like halfway through episode 2, I was like, whatever, candy corn. But I didn't know she was a robot. Like Vesper didn't know. They didn't tell me that until it was time for me to know that. So that was
Crazy.
interesting.
Sorry, not sorry.
I'm a robot. That's like
we couldn't tell you,
traumatizing.
but we did feel bad about it.
However,
I didn't.
I am infinitely customizable, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the character homework? There was like maybe 8 pages of like,
Oh,
what's
dude,
your
I love that. I
name?
finished
What's
that thing
your
so quickly.
horoscope?
Wait, what?
What? The
Your character homework.
Oh yeah. No, you actually
Homework.
did the homework with me, Megan.
I know, because I was like the last one to do it. I hate homework. I hated school. I'm like, oh, why are they calling it homework? It should have been research, or I probably wouldn't have done it. It was intimidating. It was like, how many pages was that thing?
It was a lot of pages.
like the questions were intimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like is your character a virgin? What is their horoscope sign? What's the one thing that they hate? Are they allergic to anything? And I'm like, I feel like you guys were asking me questions I didn't even know about myself, and I'm like, I need to know this about another person. But it was really, really nice of Malika to hop on Skype. I didn't even know this girl. I was like, oh, this is weird. She's gonna think I'm such a slacker. But she really helped me figure all these like questions out and like took the pressure off of it. And it was really, really fun to do because like, I don't know, you as a person, you do things and you make choices and you have decisions and favorite things. It's just who you are. You don't even think about it. But when I was creating Chloe, filling this sheet out gave me such like a good foundation and also made me take the character so much more seriously. I'm like, she started to become real for me. And I wanted to make sure I honored that every single time I played.
My original backstory was so dark and edgy. I was like, Vesper, she's all alone in the world because her family was destroyed.
Oh my God.
I didn't say destroyed. They were killed in a fire.
No way.
Yeah. And they're like, no. Actually, no.
Yeah, that's what that was crazy because they were like I didn't know what the backgrounds of everyone else were, so it was like all these things of like, oh, I lost my brother, my parents are missing, I'm an android, and I was like, I want to be rich. And cool.
I want to be from a lineage of rich people.
And from a lineage of rich people, like to the point where I'm the 25th of my generation.
Got that old money.
So, I just thought that was fun. And then, of course, I had to be like, can a ranger like another ranger? So, because I just thought it'd be a fun dynamic to throw in, not realizing what was going to happen with that, both good and bad. So
yeah, Vespi, right?
Yeah, Vespi. So yeah. But yeah, it was really a lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun creating that character. But yeah, the homework, it was like part therapy session for a little bit. I felt like I had to lay down on the couch as some of those questions.
And it wasn't.
Right?
it wasn't just a one-time thing, though. That we would have, especially with Eddie, you know, many different times throughout the season, you'd come to us and be like, hey, I'm really thinking about taking Eddie this direction, or, you know, and I think that's something that makes these kinds of shows unique, is because you never stop growing the character. It's like you get to, the longer you sit with the character, the more you keep coming up with ideas, you keep coming up with places you want to take them. And I think that's one of the coolest things about these tabletop shows, that so much time sat with them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think my toughest thing when I was creating my character, too, was, like, you guys gave me the advice, don't make it too different from who you are, especially if you're, like, it's your first time doing it. Because I'm not Chloe 100%, but I've been online for, like, over 11 years now, so you can see my persona. I am a little bit crazy, kind of like Chloe, and I am really passionate about food. Like, where the heck is my burrito? I told all of you guys to show up with a frickin' burrito. I don't see any. Thank you. We got one in the audience. Thank you. But it made it easier to, like, kind of have those funny jokes and kind of, like, riff in, like, a serious moment, or take something a little bit more lightly, or, like, you know, go to a really dark place.
Well, speaking of a long time, you guys did 25 episodes, 3 hours each.
Yep.
Can each of you share your favorite personal moment from the show?
I mean, Yoshi was, like, so crazy, right?
Yoshi was really nice for me.
I threw an
yeah,
almond
for
at
sure.
him. I was like, I'm always snacking during Hyperforce, and he, like, came on. None of us knew that, right?
Nope.
They didn't even tell us. And out of nowhere, they
So
pull up a
cool.
chair, and I'm like, who's that chair for? And then Yoshi comes around the corner, and we're like, what? He's our 6th Ranger. We, like, all freaked out. That was, like, genuine reaction and emotions. And, like, if you saw my almond fly through the sky, I really threw it at him. That was such a cool, unique moment.
That was definitely one of my favorite moments. I mean, obviously, being able to be my favorite color, his favorite color, Ranger on a show together is amazing. Though I would have to say my favorite moment was when JDF came in and, like, the whole Shattered Grid thing happened, because for me that's when it, like, solidified it. You know, like, it was real. This is we're in Shattered Grid. Even if it wasn't in the comics yet, and we weren't, like, sure if it was gonna be in the comics.
No, but we're in the comics now.
I know. That's insane. That's because of you guys. So thank you guys.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Did you
Yay!
guys see that?
Does anybody have the other cover? Anyone else?
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
there it is. I love that one. That one is
my
so sick.
cool.
They still have some variants for sale. Boom.
Oh, yeah. As someone who grew up on Mighty Morphin, I'm gonna get a little sappy with Paulie over here, but, like, to grow up and watch and laugh and enjoy the antics of Bulk and Skull and all that good stuff, and to now, years later, not only get to sit beside this man and RPG with him, but to see him as a Power Ranger was just so awesome. And that was like, when I heard when they were like rattling off the cast, I was like, oh yeah, Peter from Ninja Steel. Oh yeah, Megan, I know her. But then when they mentioned Paulie, I was like, what? I was like, yes. And then when they showed the Ranger all above, I was like, yeah. I love how everyone's Rangers look like them but me. Like, everyone's, like, got the same build. And they're like, here's Eddie. He's, like, the tallest, skinniest dude. And I'm like, that's me. At least my personality. But yeah, it was just I was so happy about that. I was so happy about that. Stoked.
Ditto.
Oh. And then when Vesper tried to kill me.
That's where the happiness ended.
I should bring up that a lot of, even though you're acting Christina, like, we just threw all this stuff at you that you knew nothing about, the amount of text messages you sent us of saying, hey, would it be okay if I did this to one of the other players? Those are your ideas.
What?
She's evil, guys. She's actually evil.
Yeah,
It's
for
funny
the
to
record,
watch.
Vesper is the one that wanted to die. Christina is the one that wanted to die. We did not kill her. That was all her.
I asked her that. I was
Specifically-
like, do you remember when we were leaving? I was like, do you want to die?
Like, yeah.
She's, no. She was like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, you want to be on the show still, right? And she was like, yeah. I'm like, but you're doing stuff to make you die all the time. And she's like, I don't know. And that was it. That was our conversation. I was like, what is wrong with
I wanted
her?
you to cry real tears, Megan. I didn't want you to prepare for
You
it.
didn't get them.
Until the end, I got them.
That's all right. We're in the same room, I'll just speak. So I think my favorite moment on our show was when we had Jason David Frank in as Dr. Tommy Oliver the first time. And I was super excited, and it was going really well. And about like 20 minutes into it, he passes me a note, and it says, "What do I do now?"
Oh my God.
And so I kept that note in my folder, and then when Christopher came and Lee was on the show, about halfway through his episode, I just handed that note to him and just looked at him like, and he looked at me like,
Oh my God.
I don't know, then he kissed me. I was like, hey!
We kept JDF's notes from each episode because they're some of the funniest things I've ever seen, and I unfortunately can't share them with you all, but they're amazing. Is the amount of times he'll ask certain questions that I know he was passing to you. These were questions for you, and they're phenomenal. One of these days I might take a picture and show you guys. They're
What
amazing.
do I do now? I think you missed the point of the entire appearance here.
Malika, do you have a favorite moment?
I've had so many favorite moments. In particular, having the opportunity to play a lot of strong characters, strong female characters throughout Power Rangers history. I think the Power Rangers, you know, of course, they're like the crown jewel, they're the heroes of the story, but I love the idea that there's these wonderful heroes and then regular people like us can be inspired by them. And so I try to put them in every era. There are people who are inspired by the Power Rangers. Alpha getting a chest cannon, being in Shattered Grid, the relationship stuff, they didn't talk to me about that. They did that. They were like, is it okay? And then like Eddie, oh my gosh, like we didn't tell him to say those things. That like happens at the table. It's the magic of role playing. That was amazing. Just like though Vesper and I, Christina, we had this plan when we went over to RPM. I don't know if I don't want to spoil it for you guys because I know I heard some of you are still catching up, but that moment was like one of my favorite because I was like, we're gonna really make this guy feel some loss.
So funny story about that. I was like, so I knew.
You did not know.
I was not supposed to be around the following week. I was going to an event, so I just went to Zach and was like, hey, if there's just some way to get me like, I don't know, like captured or something, so I'm just out that week. And they're like, yeah, we got you. And then it turned into that, and it was like, whoa, okay. So it was fun. And it's funny to watch the show before that event and seeing how we're just kind of like, maybe use a super here and there, but then like after that episode, it was like as soon as a super or a mega turned up, we were like, get it, because we just wanted to be
learned
sure.
our lesson.
The supers.
Don't leave them for Vesper.
My favorite, I think one of my favorite moments, it was, I don't know why, but whenever Zach's GMing, I just want to test him.
No, I know.
So
Doggy.
and I got away with it a lot, but then
you
one
did?
time I threw like my shield, and I was like, it can't break, like it's been through like meetings and production sketches, and it's officially approved, and he broke my shield, and I was I was aghast and in shock.
What did you expect was going to happen?
It had to be good.
My
Yeah.
favorite moment was when they went. The cast went to SPD, and there was this one character who was kind of meant to be. He was with the gang, but you could tell he was really only in it for the money. His heart wasn't really in it, and he was supposed to have this moment with Yoshi. And at the end of the episode, we were supposed to basically just kill him, like him and everybody else. They were supposed to have the energy sucked out of him. And that was going to be the end of the episode.
So they planned
But
to
these
kill.
guys refused to let that happen. And I remember that Malika was like, nope, they're gone. And they're like, no. Like they refused. And that was the first time when they really genuinely were mad and they cared so much. And they were able to come up with that healing card and find a way to use it that saved that character. And I was so impressed with them for thinking of it, and also for the way that the game had evolved to that point where it genuinely surprised me and Zach that it came out that way, because that's not what we were intending, but it was so much better.
Which is really difficult, by the way, to come up with presumed 6 to 7 different ways that something could go depending on the players at the table, and trying to get in the psychology of these guys and understand, well, they might do this or they might do that. Typically, this person does this or this person does that. Well, we can plan for that and hope that it works. And then the minute the game starts, all bets are off. And you see many moments where Malika's up there going, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God.
I think Andre literally says, I can see the wheels turning in your head. And I'm like, yes.
Gotta keep it brand appropriate. Gotta keep it brand appropriate.
Yeah. Also, watching Malika talk to herself as different characters was always funny.
Well, there's a 25 years of wonderful legacy to kind of live up to. There's been amazing performers. So many people have done the voice of different alphas, and so I would like watch those episodes on my iPad over and over and over again, and sometimes there would be a key phrase that I would repeat to try to get into that character. It was very challenging, but also a lot of fun.
So we've got some time right now for some questions. So if you guys, we have a mic over here. If you guys want to ask some questions, I'd love to hear them. But I also want you guys to be thinking about this as an answer, a question from me to you, and you can start by answering this. Which characters, I shouldn't say cast members, which characters on the show did you ship? And they can be NPCs and actual characters, or only actual characters. Who'd you ship? Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Lauren, and my first question is there a possibility of getting a season 2 of Hyperforce, and it also coming out as a live action show on a television network?
A girl can dream.
Oh my gosh, if this was like a live action, that would be insane. That would be a dream come true.
As for the rest of it, we love Hyperforce, and we are so excited about Hyperforce. Today, we really just wanted to celebrate season 1 and with these amazing cast members, but if any news changes, I promise you guys will be the first to know.
Can we know first? We'll get to know when you guys do. It'll be awesome if it happens.
How would
Fingers
you
crossed.
feel, how would you feel if they decided to take Hyperforce and film it, and then you were extended the opportunity to do the roles again?
100%.
Yep.
100% I would go for it. I would do it in a heartbeat. It doesn't
Yeah,
Only if I get to play
I'm
Doggy
totally
Kruger.
down, but I need a pair of 5X Spanx bad.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
One of my favorite episodes was when y'all went to the past with King Arthur. You all make evil stuff.
I missed that one.
How come you were able to use your powers? I wish that we wasn't allowed to use your powers. It would have made it a little bit more better, made it more difficult for you to, to advance.
Yeah, it was like we were limited, right? It was
Yeah,
like,
I
it was
wish
different.
you would have used your powers. It would have made it more better.
Yeah,
Using
I
your mind.
think they were trying to stick us in a box to make us think and make us encourage us to not use the same solutions that we had been using in previous episodes.
Okay, that's good. Thank you for your answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Also, Sir Edward Banks the First was there, so I didn't want him to die. Or else it would have been like a Back to the Future disappearing picture situation.
Also, I got my battleizer, and it's super
Okay,
cool.
yeah, we know. Which was a die roll, but
Yeah. So I love the Hyperforce game itself. I'm wondering if it's possible to have like the game be sold as a book similar to like D&D or other RPGs for us customers to buy. I totally buy it.
Yeah.
I think honestly anything is possible. Just keep supporting the show. There's a really amazing Kickstarter right now for Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. It's a tabletop RPG where with Hyperforce cast members and Shattered Grid, which we see Kyle back there. Say hi, Kyle.
Right there, the striped shirt. You know what we're talking about.
Kyle, you missed it. I dragged you earlier.
But
I dragged you.
support
I said,
Hyperforce any way you can, and we
I'll tell
will
you
do
later.
the same.
Thank you.
Because you killed a bunch of people, Kyle. That's the one time that you're on. Yeah, I'm still upset. Kyle, I'm still upset.
Hi, my name's Ken, and out of most of the recent things from Power Rangers, this was my favorite, and I'm most excited. Because I actually got to see Asian Red Ranger Peter, which is what I wanted to see in Ninja Steel. And finally got to see Polly as a ranger, something that also I wanted to see. So this was awesome. This was a lot of fun. I would love to see you guys do a Boom comic, like basically just your first season, you know, wrapped up in the comic would be something I would love to see. And I would love to see, since Hasbro has
Kyle,
the
who
D&D.
do we talk to?
Kyle, start writing.
Kyle.
Yes. I would love to see that.
You're back.
Wrap it up for us, man.
And thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lamb.
Much love.
Okay, for my question here is that in the Hyperforce, the Pink Ranger gets her upgrades. So I was wondering if the rest of the members can get their upgrades as well.
No, I don't think so. There can only be one. Okay, so
we technically have two.
They tried.
I
but
love
they
how
can't.
we like willed a black battleizer into existence by like sheer willpower.
Yeah,
remember?
no, me.
happens.
At that time, when I got that sword, because I love Overdrive, so I was like, wait, Excelsior can work with non-humans. So I gave it to Vesper, and I could tell Malika was like, what do I do? This is like a legendary artifact. And I was like, this is also a battleizer. Yeah. So for a second, she did have one.
And then
so,
I think I died or something, and I lost it.
Yeah.
Right?
So, I mean, hey, she had it, though, for a second.
By sheer willpower.
But in every season, the Red Ranger should get the upgrades. So
well, I mean, this season's different from other seasons. That's what makes it so unique, you know? And to be honest, I'm okay with not having a battleizer.
Yeah.
I see. Thank you.
I tried so hard. I was like, and then Eddie talks to Zordon, and then he talks to Zordon.
And he like gave him a wink? What was that?
I was like, and she's like, nope.
Okay, sorry, my throat's still a little scratchy because I got to morph with Brendan Mejia.
Nice.
And I put my heart and soul into it. But I wanted to ask Peter about, being a Red. Like, how was that like getting to be part of a long line of legacy of being a Red? And if there was a Forever Red, would you love to be a part of it?
I would drop whatever I'm doing. If it was a live action Forever Red, I will be in it. If they would have me, I would be in it.
Oh, yeah. Reds rule.
But to answer your question, it's an honor to be Red. Like, it is amazing. But more than an honor, it's a responsibility. And being a Red Ranger means you have to be the one to stay calm when things are going crazy. You have to be the one that moves things when things aren't doing it. And doing it in this season was different because it's all like role-playing. But overall, I would say it's an amazing honor and responsibility. It sure is. It's hard filling anyone's boots, guys.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
So you've visited a lot of interesting time periods as part of the game. I would like to know what are some time periods you would like to visit as part of Hyperforce?
Mystic Force.
There were so many.
Can I try
Yeah.
that a little bit? So for our practice sessions that nobody got to watch except for the people here at this table, we did 70s disco.
Yeah.
We actually did do a King Arthur time, and we're like, please, can we actually do it on the show? So that happened.
Thank goodness.
And I would love to do many other seasons, and I mean not seasons. Well, yeah, but just like other places, like feudal Japan or like Egypt, or like every place in the world. I mean, one thing that I love about the comic books is you see them fighting in front of the Eiffel Tower or in front of the Sydney Opera House. So like, I would love them to just go all over the world, go over the universe. I know some people were really interested in like Aquatar, maybe more adventures off-world and in different time periods.
Dinosaurs, prehistory, that would be the bomb.
Whoa.
I thought it'd be cool to cross over with the 2017 movie. I thought that'd be kind of neat.
Oh, that would be crazy cool.
Yeah, we're too nice,
That'd be
though. All
confusing.
those troubled teens.
Exactly.
We're too well-adjusted.
I wonder if you could talk about the difficulties of staying in character despite the fact that you're in a well-lit room not talking to a giant blue dog.
I think you'd be surprised, man. Our characters in Hyperforce, you guys, tended to gravitate to our true personalities. with the exception of me, because of my role as Farkas Bulkmeyer, I was consciously trying to stay away from being a moron, like I actually am, and like Bulk is. So I was trying to like be like a more grown-up version of myself, but you could kind of see there was some gravitas of our individual personality. So it wasn't hard to stay in character. It was sometimes hard to make the right decision, right, Megan?
What, me? You were my favorite moments during Hyperforce was trying to make Polly break. Like that was like if I could make him break just a little bit, like there's like if you watch back, sometimes I'll make him smile and then he goes back to being grumpy, and that's just like I'm like yes, I win
feel
today.
like a crossing guard or something in the show, you know, where I'm like trying to do we have to hold the sign up here.
Yeah, and then
Please
I'm like
stop.
I kick it down.
Exactly.
Yeah, as viewers, we remember like the name rank serial number moment in the SPD trip.
Just for you.
Greetings,
OG.
Rangers.
OG 1992.
Name's Craig. Now, a quick question. Would you love to see action figures of your Rangers?
Yeah, easily.
Yes.
Easily.
Yes.
Yes, please.
I would totally love.
Someone made me an Eddie Funko Pop and gave it to me yesterday, which was really awesome. Yeah, that was very sweet. But yes, but Heroes of the Grid, we're in that. So that's awesome.
Yes,
those are minis.
The board game coming out
Yeah.
from Renegade. You can go test it out. If you hit a goal, they're putting Hyperforce minis in the game.
Yeah.
Nice. Which is amazing.
I just want to say something just real quick before like you go to the next question or this ends or whatever. Like season 2 or not, being a part of the Hyperforce family with all of you guys and with all of you guys being a part of our journey, I could get emotional just saying this, has been insane. The Power Ranger community is so nice and so warm and so welcoming, and you guys are all so different. Hearing your stories and having you guys watch along with us has meant so much to me, and I feel honored to have even been a little speck, just a little part of the Power Ranger history. Yeah. And I just wanted to say thank you for all of your tweets, your dedication, and your support for the show. It means a lot to all of us.
Well, thank you very much. And Rangers, may the power protect you.
May the power protect you, my brother.
Hi, my name's Lincoln. This one's for Kim and the writers. After Hyperforce is done, would you like to do something similar to this in the future? The cast can also answer this as well.
I mean, I would just love to continue doing this if at all possible. That would be amazing. But I think it's been really amazing to see, and we feel honored, honestly, very honored to see what Kyle has done to bring Hyperforce into the comic books. And if you guys are not reading the Boom comics, oh my God, you should go do it.
They're so good.
They're just so good. And I think that, to me, is one of the neatest things about doing something like this is putting these characters out there and putting all this into it and then seeing where other amazing creators take them is it's an honor.
Yeah, that's something that's actually we really want to try and do at Hasbro is we don't want one thing to exist in just one world. We really want to make sure that elements of the fandom or elements of Power Rangers that the fans enjoy exist in little bits all over. So that's why you'll see little bits and pieces. You'll see, thanks to Kyle, we were able to get them into Shattered Grid. We have a Hyperforce Ranger in Legacy Wars. We have the Heroes of the Grid extension. We're really trying to. We know that the fandom has responded to Hyperforce, and we really want to try and continue that.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I'll relate this question here. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut things off because we're almost 10 minutes into a 30-minute panel. I will allow, just because I know people love these moments. Peter, what was it like for you and Yoshi after you got revealed that Yoshi was joining you? And then after that we will depart. All right.
I'll keep this short. It was honestly a revenge plot against me. I could tell to definitely surprise me again. But it was
a revenge
good
plot. I read your backstory, bro.
Yeah.
You wrote a brother that had been missing in there.
I was like, I hope this will go in this direction.
You weren't subtle, dude. You were just like, I have a brother who's missing.
I wasn't going to ask for it.
Well,
it was
I
amazing.
had a robot dog, but you didn't see that thing show up, did you?
I had a dad that...
Oh, wait. wait, spoilers! Spoilers alert. Sorry.
I'm rich,
Wait.
so.
Who was Yappy then? Where did Yappy come from?
Hi.
Yay! Thank you.
But yeah, I hope I answered your question. It was.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you to everyone. We have a very quick panel coming up.